Baby Girl Book Club is now in session, and today we're diving into Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This book has taken the world by storm, with dragons, danger, and of course, some swoon-worthy romance. Today on the book club, we're joined by my special guest, Princess Capella.
Hello.
I want to talk a little bit about why I decided to invite you to this episode, because it's a multifaceted approach.
Sure.
Obviously, we are good friends in real life.
Yes.
I know that you're not really a romance reader.
Not at all.
But you love dragons, right?
Yeah, very.
And yes. So I thought it would be interesting to get your opinion for this. And also, you wear this very interesting...
disguise?
Yes. Disguise. And I just got my wisdom teeth pulled, so I figured it would be appropriate to wear something ridiculous while I look and feel like shit. And also just found out today that I have COVID. So
It's been great. And okay, so first of all, I don't know why you're saying that you look ridiculous, because I don't know what part of this could be considered ridiculous in the very slightest. But I think the point that you're glossing over is that this book has dragons in it, and you brought in the expert.
yes. Do you want to come up with a funny name for a dragon expert?
I am a dragonologist.
Dragonologist, yes. A draconic expert. Yeah. So I think
I'm a scaly.
So we have an expert witness today is what we're trying to say. And now we are stuck in quarantine together.
Yes.
So life is a dream. Princess Capella, did you want to talk at all about your claim to fame, or how do we feel about that?
Yes. Okay. So as Caitlin, you don't go by like a really cool made up name like
Nope.
Princess Capella.
No,
or
we haven't gone over like names,
pseudonyms.
but right. I think it's Baby Girl Jess and Baby Girl Caitlin.
Okay. So yeah, Baby Girl Caitlin, we know each other IRL. Wow, what am I even talking about? Oh, why I'm famous. Okay, yes. So because you needed a special guest to grace your podcast, I am the host of the critically acclaimed Emmy-nominated
Daytime
Emmy-nominated show The Grease on Princess Capella, now live streaming also on Twitch and YouTube. So I do a drag race review with the lovely co-host Joshita.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about primarily international seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right. Which is why you're huge in the Philippines.
Yes. We have a pretty big Filipina fan base, which mabuhay if you're watching.
Love it.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I do. I also have a famous talent that we don't need to get into here.
I was wondering about that. We
Yes.
can leave that if you can find it. Good.
More
for
power
you.
to you.
Do you want to give me your overall impressions? I like to keep the first few minutes like spoiler free.
Sure.
So let's just talk about overall feelings. How are we?
Yes. Okay.
How are we feeling them?
So like you mentioned before this, I am not a romance novel person. And usually when romance or romantic scenes are in novels, I like page through. I just kind of skip them. It's not my thing. Overall, I think this is a good introduction to, romanticy as people are calling it now. And I will say that I found Fourth Wing to be one of the worst books that I've ever read, but have some of the best aspects of fantasy, world building. There's a lot to get into, and I think that's what drew me in, is there are these elements of that are really good in the book.
Yes, I totally agree.
So I want to say it's very I'm 14 and this is deep, but it completely hooked me into it as well. So what does that say about me?
That you're 14 and this book
Exactly.
is deep.
I read it. I completely maybe 2 or 3 days. I
Damn.
read the shit out of it.
Yeah. That's so interesting. So I feel so conflicted about
Yes.
this book as a whole. I read it actually in 2024. If you watched our previous episode to this one, which is the book year in books book review episode, I did read it last year. I'm not one of those people who hasn't read a book in 10 years, but definitely 2024 was my year of reading quite a lot, mainly because I got into like audiobooks, right? When I was getting into romantasy a little bit last year, right? And I followed the trajectory that I think a lot of people follow, which is I first read Court of Thorn and Roses series, and then from there I was like, I'm gonna read this book, Fourth Wing. I don't think I knew anyone at the time who had read it.
Okay.
But I had just kept seeing it recommended on Audible. Like, I'm not even really on Book Talk or anything, which is where this is huge. Both of those series are huge on, you know, the probably soon to be extinguished.
Defunct.
Right, yeah. But I just kept seeing it recommended, and I was like, that sounds so cool. So I was like, whatever, I'm gonna give it a try. And I did finish it last year, but I'll tell you right now, and I know that this is kind of shitty to say because I'm not an actor, like a voice actor. The audiobook is terrible. It's really, really bad, and it almost spoiled the book for me entirely. Just the choices the voice actor or voice actress makes, it just doesn't work for me. I can understand why she would make those stylistic choices, but for me, it was like that the brattiness of the younger like FMC that we kind of have with. I don't think Violet's terribly bratty really, but she definitely sticks up for herself and is somewhat like defensive and immature. It's just part of her character. Characters are flawed, and that's what makes them interesting.
Certainly.
But the way the narrator did that for her and also all the other characters and all the lore and the underscoring and everything, it just made it was a huge turnoff to me. So I finished it, but I was like, I really don't like this. So then I wanted to do this for the podcast because, as most people would know, book 3 in the series is coming out here very soon. I was like, I want to give this another try with the real text and read it for myself. And when I read it on my own, I don't know if I totally gaslit myself into enjoying it or if I really did enjoy it. Like, I still don't know how to feel. I'm so conflicted about it. But overall, on the reread, I guess what I'm trying to say in a very
Roundabout
long way is I enjoyed it a lot on the reread. There are a few things I didn't love. Honestly, I would say like 95% of it is good to great, perhaps.
Interesting.
Because you have to look at it in a totally different way. I've read a lot of books. You've read a lot of books.
Yeah.
The millions of viewers that we have read a lot of books. And I think Fourth Wing in the Empyrean series is unique because it's more of like an action movie in a book.
Sure.
It's not so much like we're not reading Tolkien. It's not like super expressive prose. It's like it's a fantasy world, but like a modern action movie. And I think approaching it in that way makes it a lot more enjoyable.
It can, but I also think it suffers because of the pace of the book itself.
Agreed. I agree. There were a lot of things that I would have loved to see, learn more of and see more of. Mm-hmm. Violet's backstory with her health and her overcoming adversity up into when she enters the writer's quadrant. It's just like we meet her and she has this chip on her shoulder because she's small and she's weak and she wishes she was a scribe, but her mom is a bitch. Mm-hmm. So she has to go probably die riding a dragon.
Right. Okay. So this is already starting into one of my problems with the series and why I like the books. Okay. Yep.
So you admit it.
Okay. But here's the thing, right? You can't take my opinion because I like bad things, arguably. Like, there's a series called Paradox. If you've ever read it, it's horrible. I forced myself to read all of them because, like, I won't give up on something. But although I didn't like those. But what I'm trying to say is I don't like Violet at all as a main character because she's very elder millennial. I am small girl. I'm so tiny and delicate and fragile. Well, whatever. She probably would not describe herself as fragile, like, oh, they can't break you. Ugh. Anyway, Jesus Christ. What I'm trying to say is I find it hard to connect with characters who are small because I've always been very loud and boisterous. And, I want to be able to connect with that main character. I don't connect with Violet whatsoever at all. I really dislike her, in fact.
You know what? I think you should challenge yourself to think about it differently because I felt that way the first time I read it. It is still hard for me to connect with someone who is physically small because I know the cameras make us both look like gorgeous, dainty, demure princesses, but Princess Capella and I are very tall and curvaceous and large. We're big.
I actually have a quote from the book.
Hold my God, pull it up.
Yeah.
So, and in other books, I've read other books where the FMC is like a very small person, and that is really hard for me to connect with as well.
Yes.
But there were other parts of her character that I did find redeeming with the whole like fragility thing. People think she's fragile, and yes, like she has physical limitations, but she takes those limitations and like proves to everyone that like you don't have to be big and strong to be a badass bitch. You know what I mean? Like, don't make that face at me. You know it's true. You know it's true. Like she, we'll get into it, but she takes those limitations and flips them around once she stops listening to everybody else who says you're too small, you're too weak, you're too fragile. She's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Like, it doesn't matter because I'm smarter than all of you and I'm going to work harder than all of you. And she really turns it around. So not that I have ever worked hard in a day in my life and I refuse to, but I guess I appreciate the, her toughness in that way.
All right. The quote I have here, and you'll have to forgive me, I don't have
your readers.
Contacts. Like, I cannot see. What curves I do have should be muscle, and my traitorous body makes me embarrassingly vulnerable.
Yeah, that is cringe.
That's so bad.
Yeah. There are a couple times where they like describe her frame.
Oh, I mean, but there's many things about her physical appearance that bother me.
Oh, the hair? Are you
the
talking
hair.
About the hair?
Okay, right? Because can we get into talking about the spoilers and all this stuff yet?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yep. Now we're talking about spoilers. So I hope you enjoyed our rambling so far, and here's more.
Okay, the hair. Now, I don't like pick me, I'm so special anywhere in any type of fantasy. Like Daenerys with white hair and purple eyes.
Oh, fuck
hate
you.
it. Alana the Lioness, one of my favorite characters, purple eyes, hate it. Like, I just despise that. Like,
sure.
I think it's better for everybody for these characters to look relatable, feel relatable, seem more relatable. And Violet's hair pisses me off so bad because that's not how hair works.
Right.
So the bottom half of her hair is silver. Is it magic? Because hair does not grow that way. So hair grows from the top.
They gloss over it.
Yes.
Which I will agree with you that I don't like that they kind of gloss over it, at least unless I'm forgetting like a huge part of it. From the little tidbits you pick up in the book, no matter how short or how long her hair is, it's always this kind of like bicolored hair. But I do agree with you that it would seem more natural if it were like silver from the roots and then darker at the ends.
But that still wouldn't even work. So it has to be magic. So why don't we talk more about the magic hair? Like, it's just a section.
Right. I haven't looked into like a lot of the background. Like when we do these episodes, I try not to research the lore too much, I guess, because I'm trying to give like my honest feelings.
Well, and you don't want to get spoilers either.
Right. But I do have a feeling that something with the hair is going to be revealed. Okay, so you kind of enjoyed it, but you had problems with some of the pick-me stuff.
Yes.
And I get that too. I mean, I kind of go back and forth with that sort of thing. And I think maybe I'm just a little more flexible than you are personality-wise, which, I mean, we support everyone here and everyone's opinions. I think, all romance readers are valid. If you're here to have your mind blown by like wonderful stories with beautiful writing, I think that's great. And if you're here to read like trashy goblin nightmare books, that's also totally, we support that.
Yes.
Baby girl Jess, like she loves trashy books that are like, they're not good. But, sometimes you just want to get lost in something. It doesn't have to be Pride and Prejudice, which I do actually really want to read this year. As I kind of get more into reading romance and fantasy in general, which I was a huge fantasy reader my whole life, right? I do agree that like physical traits that are cool but still happen naturally in our reality are more relatable. Mm-hmm. But it's also fantasy, so going out and picking crazy stuff like that, like half silver hair, I mean, it's a little forgivable.
But why does it always have to be I'm a small, skinny, tiny girl and not I'm a big fat bitch?
Right. True. That's true. But I mean, there are people out there who are skinny and they're frail and they're still strong. So I think in Violet's case, that's what.
Sure.
But I do, if you have a big, strong, fat, mommy book recommendation, drop it in the comments.
Please.
I would love to see more of that. But I will say that with Violet, I definitely did pick up what you're putting down, but I kind of forgave it. Because I think eventually you see her strength, like you see beyond that whole thing. When we first meet Violet, she is about to go to the parapet. Parapet?
What are you saying?
She's about to cross the parapet.
It's a parapet. What's a
Parapet?
parapet?
Is it parapet?
What are you saying? Are you feeling okay?
I'm not
What is
feeling
a
okay.
parapet?
I have
A
dry
parapet doesn't exist.
I have dry sockets and COVID. I feel terrible.
It's a parapet. What do you never fucking...
So it's conscription day, and she's crossing the parapet, which is a very dangerous obstacle course. Mm-hmm. And we meet her mother, who, to put it bluntly, is a huge bitch.
Yes.
It's really crazy how much her mother hates her. To me, that was hard, like right off the bat. Her mom is being a bitch. We also meet Mira, her sister, who's a lieutenant, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, she's a lieutenant. So she's already gone through the Riders Quadrant. She's graduated. She's stationed somewhere with her dragwin. She's stationed with her dragon. We learn a little bit more about their family, right? They have an older brother, Brennan. He was killed in the Tirish Rebellion, which I believe was 6 years prior to when we meet
Correct.
Violet. He was cool, and now he's dead.
R.I.P.
Yeah, big rip, Brennan. So Mira also gives Violet like some special armor that's made out of dragon scales, and then like walks her to the parapet. You learn that like, I didn't run the numbers, but like pretty much 50% probably of all people who try to be a dragon rider die. And it's really crazy to me that in this world, they're totally cool with like having a bunch of 20-year-old kids try to climb a mountain, and they're just falling off and dying. They are killing each other because they seem weak. They are fighting each other, ripping each other's arms off, like, and that's just normal.
Yeah, it brings in an interesting aspect of the culture that sort of death is okay.
Right.
And they go
Brutal.
into talking about the other sections of the war college where not everybody is dying all the time, and how they all think the dragon riders are crazy because of it.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I mean, as we read the book, we learn why the dragons are so important, right? Because they protect the borders, they create the wards. There was like basically a treaty between the humans and the dragons that like the dragons would help protect their borders if they could like also help protect their sacred hatching grounds, right? That's why we have Besgaeth War College to train these people to like work with these dragons. But at the same time, that seems so crazy. Maybe it's a commentary on like modern military. I really don't know. Haven't looked into it, but to me, as someone who is not terribly old, but old enough, I'm like, why are we letting these children do this?
Yes.
Right. They're just dying and killing each other, and it's crazy. But I mean, would I roll the dice?
Yes. Absolutely.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah. I I don't know if I have the courage to be a dragon rider. If it's as brutal to be a dragon rider as it is in this book, I don't know that I could do it.
I would do it. I would do anything.
I know you would. I would maybe do it to
I would
do
kill
magic.
You would kill me?
Why?
I would kill you to ride a dragon.
Whatever. No, my signet would be the opposite of yours. So anytime you tried to kill me, it would hurt you. That would be that would be my signet.
I see.
So she's crossing the parapet. We meet Rhiannon, who Violet gives like a boot to, so that she can cross more safely. Right.
Correct. Yes.
Which I think is it's a nice way after being introduced to like this brutal reality that is dragon riding, and how it's kind of like a me against all the other people, like survival is paramount kind of thing. It's kind of a nice look into Violet's character, that like she wasn't raised to be this like brutal dragon rider. She was raised to be a scribe like her father, and so she still has like more human non-rider like values. And then we also meet Jack Barlow, who is a murderous psychopath who is like behind them on the parapet, and he is basically just constantly telling Violet the whole time that he's gonna kill her because she's too weak, she's too small, and she has to die. So that also off the bat was just nuts. I thought it was cool that she was eventually like, when they finished the course, she was able to like get in there and hold him hostage. Although I did think it was super cringe that she was like holding a knife up to his nuts. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
Again,
but
it's the I'm 14 and this is deep.
yeah,
it
yeah.
all.
I didn't love that part, but overall, it was compelling. So right after this, we meet Dane Atos, who is a second year and is apparently Violet's best friend from childhood. And he's a squad leader.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's a squad leader. And he immediately tells Rhiannon, like, go put your guys' names up on the roll for my squad. Like, I want you guys in my squad. And then we also are introduced at this point to Xaden Ryerson, who is the son of Fen Ryerson, who started this war that we've heard about for the Tirish Rebellion, right?
It was the description of Xaden that made me decide, okay, I'll read this book. Yeah, when I first started the book, I was just kind of like, this is really purposefully edgy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into it. And then as soon as they did the description of Xaden, I was like, okay, this guy's really hot. I'm certain this is going to be an enemies to lovers arc, and I guess I'll keep reading.
I don't think I find Xaden hot, but
What is wrong with you?
I don't know. Honestly, I think listening to the audiobook the first time around killed that for me. As I reread it, I was a little more intrigued, like in their more physical, more one-on-one scenes. But overall, the like overprotective
Oh, his personality
kind
is
of asshole
horrible,
guy. Yeah, I don't.
but he's hot.
Right. But I mean, he has cool tattoo, rebellion relic. He's very strong. Those things are compelling. I like that.
I'm very curious about the relics, and then later on with the dragon symbols or whatever. Are those also called relics? How the dragons put
Yes, I think.
on their riders. So the dragon markings that the riders have as well. I'm very curious if those were inspired by the inheritance cycle, like
Interesting.
Aragon, because when a dragon like marks their rider or their owner, it's been a long time since I read those. They also leave like a mark on them, and it kind of shimmers.
Cool.
And I wonder if that is a nod to that.
Very cool. We're meeting up with Dane, her friend. We see Xaden. He's kind of a dick. And they immediately realize, like, okay, so Xaden's dad started the war that basically Violet's mother ended. So there's a little animosity between the two of them,
To
I
say
would
the
say.
least.
Right. Violet's like pretty hurt after conscription parapet type stuff. So Dane spirits her away to take care of her and is trying to basically convince, like, she made it through, she's good. And Dane is like, you shouldn't be here, you're too weak, you're going to get hurt. I bet we could take you to the scribe's quadrant right now and they'll still take you. You can go be a scribe and you can go be safe. And Violet's not really having any of that. And this is kind of like a recurring theme between the two of them during Violet's like training.
Yes.
Is that he's just really worried about her. He wants her to go be a scribe. And as it continues, she gets more and more annoyed with that because she keeps like proving herself.
Well, and I mean, Dane is fucking annoying.
Yeah.
At first, I was really disappointed that it wasn't a love triangle, really, between the three of them. I was fully ready for that. And then as it went on and Dane like never gave up on this shtick of like, oh, Violet, you need to go be a scribe, you shouldn't be here, I was just like, this guy needs to fucking go away. He was so annoying.
It was very overbearing.
Yes.
100%, which I think is the point, right?
Yeah.
But it was super annoying. And eventually he gets what's coming to him, so I guess that's nice. So overall, Violet excels in her academic training as we move along, right?
No, you're skipping over.
Okay, let's go.
Dane takes her to, is it Nolan or Nolone or the Mender?
Yeah.
Well, how do you say his name?
I think it's Nolan, but I can
We'll
look.
just say Nolan. I didn't do the audiobook, so I don't actually know how anything is pronounced. So Dane takes her to the Mender, and the Mender...
It's Nolan.
Nolone?
Yeah.
Nolone, okay. Nolone.
You can say Nolan, whatever. Who
Whatever.
cares?
The Mender. She goes to the Mender. The Mender mends her, fixes her, whatever. She's fine. Right afterwards, this is what I want to know. Violet has Ehlers-Danlos, some type of connective tissue disorder. Why does mending not fix that? And this is like one of the kind of issues that I get into with this book is that there's things that happen in the book and it's a chance to explain how the magic system of the world works or how like the more of the backstory of this world, and we don't get it. So I'm like, menders can only fix something that's been broken or been changed from a certain point, or could they fix you if you had a genetic, heart malfunction, structural valve disorder? Like, what can they fix? What can't they fix? Why can't they fix whatever connective tissue disorder that's going on with Violet? And then also, I think what I dislike about the treatment of Violet's condition is that, some people really dislike the word moist, right? For whatever fucking reason. I physically cringe at the word subluxate.
Yeah.
I hate that word.
Yeah.
So anytime it's in the book, I can't deal with it. And I feel bad,
Yeah.
But I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't with that. I think let's workshop that word.
No, I think you bring up a good point, though. They mentioned that menders can fix things other than human people. Like it's anything that's broken, I guess. Like they could go to a bridge and fix a broken bridge. But you're right, they don't go into like the physiological conditions that they could fix. And like, yeah, if you were born with like a hole in your heart, could they fix that?
Or can they just reset you?
Right. I would assume it's more like that, but I don't think it's ever spelled out fully, which is kind of a missed opportunity. I agree. Okay, so overall, Violet's like excelling in her academic training because she's been trained as a scribe for years at this point. And she also has before Mira left, Mira snuck in her dead brother's journal into Violet's room. So Violet reads Brennan's journal and learns kind of the lay of the land, right? Like she learns some insider tips that help her out, right? Because one of the things that the writers have to do in their training is they have to do these like sparring challenges. And obviously Violet is small and she's not very physically strong. So she's really worried about these like sparring challenges because like sometimes people die in these like, routine training exercises, like people die. So She learns from Brennan's notebook that the teachers make a list like the week beforehand. So she gets access to where they like post the list and then starts poisoning people, which is pretty fun.
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
I don't buy that she is some freaking level 20 rogue sneaking poison to people. I can suspend the disbelief that she knows all about poison because she was trained to be a scribe,
Right.
and she probably knows a lot of that herbology or whatever. I don't buy that she could be poisoning all of these people.
Right, because how many people has she poisoned before this?
And how is nobody caught on when she poisons a shitload of people?
Yeah, you would think that someone would notice.
And
after like
they do kind of notice, like
Really?
they
Zayden notices,
Yes.
but that's really about it.
yeah. I don't buy it. I don't buy that. I'm not renting it.
In the line of poisoning, like before her first challenges, she has to go out and like get some supplies to poison people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she knows where to find these berries. I don't remember what they're called, like Fossy berries or whatever.
Sure.
She's out in the forest climbing around. She's up in a tree and she hears some people. And come to find out, it's Zayden. He's meeting with a bunch of marked ones, which is also, that's what they call the children of the rebellious people from the war, because they all have the marking of the rebellion relic. And it's against the rules for more than 3 marked ones to be meeting at any time. So there's like a bunch of them meeting in the forest. And Violet is really scared because she thinks Zayden is going to kill her if he realizes that she's there. So she's like hiding in this tree while they're basically just having like not a tutoring session really or a pep talk, but something along those lines of like they're really just checking in with each other, checking in with the new recruits to see how things are going, who needs help with what.
Kind of a water cooler chat.
Right. Yeah. It's a little more kick in the ass than that, because Zayden is kind of like, well, get with it or get out of here because I'm responsible for your life. And if you don't want to train for it, then you're going to die. So quit wasting my time.
Yeah.
Violet kind of has like a little revelation during this moment because she knows those rules from the Codex. But she sees like, why is this breaking a rule? Like they're just doing what any other bunch of people who know each other would be doing.
Yes.
They're not plotting a rebellion yet anyway. Everybody else leaves except for Zayden. And this is like one of the first like one-on-one experiences they have where she's trying to feel out whether or not he's going to kill her. And he is saying like, no, I'm good for now. So she like throws these knives at him. And then when he backs up to the tree, he realizes that it would have like stabbed his ears.
Yeah. Which again, is she supposed to be a level 20 rogue? Like where did this skill come from? Like she's so in the dark, she can throw daggers so precisely that if you back up, you realize, oh my God, that would have cut off my fucking ears. I'm just not sure that I buy that. Because she was training to be a scribe. Why would she have those skills?
Yeah, I don't know. I
can suspend my disbelief, for a lot of things.
Right.
But then it's like, I feel like with Violet, they just keep adding up, and it's why I don't like her.
That kind of like builds up their relationship a little bit. And then continuing with the sparring challenges, eventually Violet poisons like 5 or 6 people in a row or something like that. One of them, she doesn't time the poison right. So they're not able to meet her in the ring, and Zayden, as her wing leader, decides to step in for the challenge, and instead of hurting her, he just disarms her and tries to teach her like, hey, you can't, in the real world, you're not going to be able to go around poisoning all of your enemies, so you still need to learn how to do this. Like, you still need to figure out how to go beyond what you think your limitations are and like really protect yourself. So
which is probably one of the best points he makes in the entire series.
Definitely. During all of this stuff, I mean, we meet a couple of the professors, we meet a couple of the other writers. Like she's starting to get a couple friends. So yeah, like overall it seems like she's doing pretty well, but there are a lot more challenges coming up that they're still worried about, right? There is the gauntlet, which I didn't make any notes on really, but that was kind of a pivotal moment, the gauntlet training, because there was like this final step that she was having trouble with.
And that's when she uses the rope.
Yeah. She uses the rope to swing and then like stabs her knife, right?
Okay.
To like climb up.
Now, this is my next question about this book overall.
Yep.
Can you describe to me what the gauntlet looks like?
Absolutely not. No.
Can you describe to me what's it fucking even called? Because I read it. I thought it was Basgaith. It's
Basgaith.
Basgaith. Basgaith is better. Can you describe to me what that place looks like?
No. I think there's a map in like the beginning of the book.
I'm on a Kindle. The maps look like shit.
I know. Yeah, that is the real drawback to Kindle editions is the maps
Or
are,
audiobooks. You know,
Right,
you're not looking
right.
at a map. There's things like that where I
Right.
wish there was more time spent talking to me about what this castle actually looks like, or more time spent on what the gauntlet really looks like.
Right.
Or where it is. Like, where is it in the college? Is it just there and they can go look at it? Like, you know, what is it? I'm confused by a lot of it, and I think there's so much opportunity.
I agree.
Like, add 2 more books to the series and really give me more of the backstory. Like, you could even start it in the same place.
Yeah.
And just spend more time on the more booky stuff of telling me what stuff looks like.
Yeah, I think I do agree with that overall, and that's probably like my biggest gripe in the series is that there's a lot of cool stuff that we learn about that doesn't get a lot of backstory. Like Violet has lived at Bisgaith for what, like at least 5 years or something like that.
8 years, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and there's not a ton of description about the campus. We also like follow Violet into a lot of her lessons where there's a class where they're learning about like dragon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, the green dragons are from the Umabushi line and blah blah blah. It's like, where's the stuff about that? Like,
That would be sick.
yeah.
Dragon
So more about the
family tree.
dragons for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. And more about the magic as well, which it does seem like the signets and everything, they're kind of mysterious.
Yeah.
Like the humans don't totally know 100% how or why they manifest, and they can train them in certain ways, but you know, it's a little up in the air. So, but overall, I do wish that more of that world building and more of that lore was accessible, because I think it would make it a better read overall. We're skipping over the gauntlet. The gauntlet happened. Violet used her smarts to, you know, succeed. So even with Violet's little shenanigans, they did well. They also, her squad won the like squad games, so they get a chance. They get a chance to see the dragons before threshing. And the first time they go see them, there's a rare golden feather-tailed dragon, which is like a super cool experience because people don't ever see feather-tails because they don't bond riders.
And as soon as you see the golden feathertail, you're like, oh, that fucking thing's gonna bond with Violet.
Right.
Like, of course.
Yeah. You say that, but then also when we first heard about Taryn
I knew
in
it.
her class.
Yes.
So this was before the squad thingy. In the dragon class are like, Taryn, the big black bastard.
Yeah.
I was like, that's going to be Violet's dragon, right?
Yeah.
Because she's so...
I'm a small girl.
Right, and
Yeah.
he's a big monster.
Yes.
Match made in heaven, in my opinion. We get to threshing. And threshing is, again, one of these dangerous events. Like cadets, you bond a dragon
Or you die.
yeah, hopefully not die. Because there are unbonded people, you know, but it's if you approach a dragon and it doesn't like the cut of your jib, you might get killed.
And I will say, this is fucking awesome.
Yes.
This is one of the things that's really fucking cool.
Yes.
And I do like how ruthless the dragons are portrayed.
Yes.
These are not PG dragons. These are PG-13 dragons, you know?
Definitely, yeah. So there's a group of students led by Jack Barlow that Violet overhears during threshing because they are going to kill the Feathertail because she's weak.
Stupid.
She's a liability, just like Jack wants to kill Violet because she's a liability. So Violet decides to get all up in their business and defend the Feathertail, and they're all fighting and shit. And then Xaden and Sigale, his dragon, show up. And Sigale is a badass. Like,
She's cool.
Everyone's terrified of her, which I love that. Everyone's terrified of Xaden, too. So it makes sense. So Xaden's just kind of like, I guess, watching because he can't interfere. But Violet manages to, like, make Jack Barlow run off. And then here comes Tarn, the big black dragon. He kills
somebody.
Yeah, he kills
one of his cronies.
Right. So then, because of Violet's bravery and standing up for the little baby dragon, Taryn decides to bond to Violet, which is fucking cool. And does she lose her seat when they fly to...
He has to use magic to keep her...
That's right.
...seated. Because, and she, like, also could, like, not climb up, like...
Oh, yeah, he had to, like
lean down, and that was a big thing, because dragons don't fucking... Yeah, you know, dragons don't...
Right. Dragons are dicks.
Yeah. You know, it's fine. I don't want to keep hammering on, like, things I don't like about the book, because overall it was enjoyable, and I'm reading the second one. I can't stop fucking reading it. Right. You know, so...
But the point of her relationship with Taryn and why Taryn chose her is that she's smart and she's strong, not so much physically, but like can do so much despite her physical limitations.
That's fine. She's also annoying.
That's fine if you think that. But that's the point. That's why Taryn doesn't feel shame having to make accommodations for her, because he doesn't fucking care.
Taryn is up on his ADA requests.
Yes, he is ADA compliant.
Yeah.
That is true. And we love a conscious king, and Taryn is
the king.
Yes. He's so cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Okay. The dragons are bonded, and she made it to the thing, and everybody has their dragons, and comes out that both dragons decide to bond her, and that causes a bit of an uproar. It's never happened before. The dragons themselves, which their like dragon council is called the Empyrean, right?
Yes.
They don't know how to feel about it. The humans also don't know how to feel about it, but the dragons are like, fuck your feelings, humans. We don't care what you think, which is awesome.
Love it.
Yep, we do love that.
Kind of like how our government.
Yeah. Well, they are lizard people, right? So the other problem is that Taryn and Sigale are a mated pair, right? So that means that her and Xaden are going to have to be around each other a lot, because mated dragons can't go too long without being around each other for whatever reason. They go nuts, I guess. Our dragons are statistically and historically incredibly horny, so they have to be around each other a lot.
And I did kind of like this as a plot point, as a device. That,
I agree.
You know, they don't want to be around each other. They're like kind of enemies, and then they're forced to be together. This was something that I enjoyed as far as the romance aspect or like relationship building aspect of it. I like that that's there. I get kind of sick of it eventually, but it was interesting.
It's an interesting take on a couple of tropes within the genre, the like forced proximity trope, right? Which we see that played out quite a bit. I think it was an interesting take on like why they're stuck with each other. And it's also a really interesting take on the fated mates trope, which we see a lot of, to be like, we are not fated mates, you know, Xaden and Violet, but our dragons bonded. Right, exactly. So I thought that was a pretty cool take on everything, and the perks and drawbacks to that relationship are pretty interesting, which we can talk about in a minute. Oh, and a cool thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember who Taryn's last rider was?
It was the guy who tried to revive Brennan when he was dying.
You got it right. Wow. Good for you.
I read the fucking book.
So did I, but I forgot. But yeah, so Taryn's last rider was Nowlin. Taryn's last rider was a lieutenant named Nowlin who died trying to resurrect Brennan, her brother, when he died in the rebellion. And I think this might not be wrong. We can cut this out if it's wrong. But I think Brennan was killed directly by Fen Ryerson.
I don't remember.
I think he was. If not, I mean, Violet says it's his fault, right? Because it was his work.
Yes.
But okay, she bonds Taryn. That's fucking dope, right?
Based.
That's so cool. Also, Jack Barlow, do you remember he was like convinced that he was going to bond Taryn? He was like, what do I have to do to make him notice me? And everyone was like, fuck you, you're a psychopath.
Yeah, apparently kill a baby dragon.
Yeah.
A terrible idea.
Right.
Fucking idiot.
So after she bonds to Taryn, 6 unbonded riders break into her room at night, and she's awoken by Taryn being like, you got to get up because they're going to kill you. That's kind of like the drawback to bonding a dragon, is that there are more students than there are available dragons. And once you have a dragon, some of these unbonded riders are coming for your gig because they want what you have. So
it's like Showgirls.
yes, exactly. That's what made this scene made me think of Showgirls.
Did
too.
it really?
No, of course not.
It's exactly like it.
They break into her room. Violet's throwing daggers and shit. She's trying to defend herself because Taryn uses his bond with Sigale to send Xaden her way.
A text.
To say, yes, sends him a text message, hey, come pick me up.
Mom, pick me up. I'm scared.
So Xaden's on the way. Violet's fighting for her life. And then Andarna uses her gift, like channels her gift to Violet to like stop time. Because of that, Xaden is able to get there in time and pretty much like kill 6 people.
Yeah, he kills 6 dudes. And this time stop power is something that you see a lot in hentai, used in a very inappropriate way. So I'm very familiar with this.
Okay, I'm not actually. So that's interesting. Do you remember who it was that let the unbonded riders into Violet's room?
What's funny is you just told me, like,
right,
like Ava Mavis or something.
Amber Mavis.
Yes.
Who was a wing leader, right? And also like Dane's little ex-fling from last year.
Yeah, little girl.
Violet like managed to see her as she was leaving. That's kind of a big deal because to like level an accusation against a wing leader like that is bad.
That's bad.
It's a big, huge deal. And it changes a lot in the dynamic between Violet, Xaden, and Dane, right? Because Dane doesn't want to believe Violet when she tells him.
Because he's a little goody two-shoes rule follower.
He's a rule follower. It's one of his worst qualities. And Dane has a signet where he can see like your memories if he touches your face.
If he touches your temples.
That's what they say. Right. That's what they say at first. And I wonder if do you think he lied about it in the beginning?
No, I think he could only do it if he was touching your temples at first, and then he learned.
He got better.
How to do it by touching your face.
I want to look that up later and see what people think.
I feel like they address it, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I could also not be remembering totally right.
We're both stupid.
So. Yeah, we're both dumb. So Dane doesn't want to believe Violet. Violet doesn't like that. And also Violet doesn't want to share her memories with Dane because then he's going to see the meeting of the
hentai.
That, and he's going to see the marked ones too. This is like a huge dynamic shift because Xaden is the one who like believes her. He's the one who saved her. He's the one who stands up for her and levies the charge against Amber that has her executed. That sucks for Dane for being such a little goody two-shoes.
He kissed her before this, right?
He kissed her right after threshing.
Okay.
Right. And Violet was like, ew.
Yeah.
I don't like this anymore.
He has no riz. Like, he's not been doing anything. He's just been being fucking annoying, telling her she's stupid and shouldn't be a dragon rider. And then he's like, let's make out. Like, what is wrong with this guy?
I don't know. He's young, right? He's like 22 or something like that. So, in my opinion, they don't have riz.
That's fair.
So, after the attack by the unbonded riders, Xaden decides to have Liam start following Violet around. Clam, yes. How do you feel about Liam?
I actually really like Liam.
Yeah, me too.
He's probably one of the characters, like side characters, I like the most. Mm-hmm. I like Liam. I like Rhiannon. I like Riddick. Mm-hmm. He's a good guy. He's a loyal friend. You don't really know what the full extent of his like relationship and his ties to Xaden are, but it's very. Xaden told me what to do. That's my homie. I'm going to do it.
Right. I mean,
And I love a man that will follow instructions.
yeah, and he can whittle. That's cute.
Yes. Yeah. He has an adorable quirk.
He's crafty. We love a crafty king. You know what? I have said before that like my book boyfriend type is like dangerous cinnamon roll. And I think Liam kind of fits into that.
Yeah,
You know, he's
I
very
think so.
strong. I think he's the strongest of their squad, or maybe the strongest of the first years. I can't quite remember, but he's a big, strong guy. He likes to craft. He does give us a little bit of insight into like his background with Xaden.
Yeah. They were fostered together.
Yeah, exactly. So he gives us a little bit more insight into this like mysterious man who won't tell the truth about anything. So that's kind of, you know, he has lots of redeeming qualities, unfortunately, as we know that
Right.
he goes bye-bye. Not yet, though. So let's talk a little bit more about the mating bond, because it connects the dragons and it connects Violet and Xaden, but it also, as we've talked about, dragons are incredibly horny. So it makes all this weird stuff happen between Violet and Xaden, where like Violet goes nuts.
Yeah. She gets Twitter
She gets
pated.
sprung, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. She ends up kissing Xaden outside because she's all Twitter pated. And
Basically, she is feeling Taryn's horny emotions, and it's making her horny. I love that. I would love to experience it. I would love to watch dragons mating. I would love to know more about how they mate, because they.
I wish
have
that you could actually see
cloaca,
my
right?
face.
They have a cloaca. So how are they having sex?
Maybe
What is
it's
it like? Are they just? I'm really curious, because like chickens don't mate, right? Like
I
what
don't
do they
know.
do? Are they just like big chickens? Like that's what I fuck Xaden. I want to know about the dragon fucking.
I did not expect that to come out of your mouth. Holy
Do
shit.
you even know
I
me?
should have
What are you
known.
talking
I
about?
should have known. That's so interesting. Maybe it's magical. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's not physical. Maybe it's magical.
I'm hoping that we learn more about the dragon fucking when we talk more about the hatching grounds and some other things.
I really don't know.
I want to
to
know.
But you know, I'm sure there are definitely lots of monster fucking books out there. So I'm sure we can find some updated lore for you.
Thank you.
They go to the front lines. They see Violet's sister.
Mm-hmm.
They also see Rhiannon's sister, right? Who's like pregnant.
They sneak
Right,
out.
they
don't
snuck
they?
out,
Yes.
And that's cool. But then while they're there, they're like attacked by griffin riders.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up having to like leave early and shit, right? So that happens. And then from there we go into the war games. And during the first war games,
War games is a thing in wrestling. So
Is it?
it was really distracting to be, and it had like it just happened like a month ago, and it was awesome. So that was really distracting. Just as a side note to
Interesting.
the author Rebecca, I know you're out there.
oh, she's listening. And I don't think she likes you.
Probably not.
So during the first war games, Violet uses the time stop again to save Liam because he's attacked by Jack Barlow. And it's during this moment that Violet's signet finally manifests itself and she does fucking lightning, which was so cool. I got like, when I was rereading it, I definitely got like chills and I was like,
Very cool.
yeah, like, so she uses lightning to like blow up a mountain
Yeah.
and kill Jack Barlow. And then Taryn is like, lightning wielder. Roar. So that was cool. I liked that moment a lot. Thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, so your signet's basically like your alt or like your super
Yes.
or whatever. I don't remember what it's called in Valorant, but it's like your special thing that
Yeah.
you do. I love the lightning stormbringer, energy.
Yes.
I think that avatar or elemental style powers are the coolest and the best, and arguably lightning wielding is like the coolest.
Storm mages are fucking dope.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
I
I
agree.
mean, Azula in Avatar was like the shit because she could wield lightning.
Yeah. In the Mages of the Wheel series, there's also a person who is an air mage, but is a storm bringer.
Stormcaller.
Yeah, so fucking cool.
Very cool.
Yes.
And that's what Violet needs. Is she needs Uncle Iroh to teach her how
Yes.
to really use her lightning.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that he's dead.
So that's cool. She kills Jack Barlow. She's pretty fucked up about it, which
Yeah.
is understandable, but also this guy has tried to murder her and her friends many times. So it's kind of like kill or be killed here. But again, Violet has that like scribe type humanity that some of these other people don't have. Although Xaden says to her in this moment, like, you get used to it, but you don't get like fully used to it. Like he still feels bad about it. He's killed.
He just killed 6 dudes.
Yeah, like
on Tuesday.
Yeah. So somewhere between the first and the second War Games, they end up fucking.
There was like some sort of special occasion and she was dressed up.
Right, that's right. Unification Day. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yep.
Maybe?
Yeah, and so then it was like the anniversary of his dad's death and also her brother's death, I think.
Yes.
And then he was
high.
yes. So they fuck bang boom bam bam.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the scene?
It's again, oh, we fucked so hard we broke the bed 5 times type thing, and it's just like I don't find any of it believable. If a guy is gonna like try and make me come 5 times, like I'm gonna hit him fully in the face after the second one, like stop touching me. And she's like melting the shit, like burning the curtains, like I'm over it. And it's like, oh, everybody knows we fucked me. This is not my type of thing. But he is hot.
Yeah, for sure. This is where we get into the parts that I, even upon my fully gaslighting myself into actually really enjoying this book, still cannot fully get behind it. There is just something about the intimate scenes that I also don't buy. And I, as a romantasy reader, like, I get it. There's always this over-the-top quality to a lot of romance novels because we are imagining this world where, like, you can have time-stop hentai porn.
God, take me there.
Exactly, right? So, like, we are manifesting 5 orgasms in a night, but even that is insane, especially to think a man who's 23, like, get a girl grip. Bye. No, but
unless he's gonna break out the hibachi, right. Like, no.
Imagine if that was your signet power, lightning powered
vibrator. Oh my God.
Well, at the beginning, Mira said there was someone whose signet was he could make things smaller or bigger.
That's true.
So he does have the sex signet. So book 3, maybe we'll hear more about that guy.
Would
hopefully.
Love that.
Because I don't think they ever name him. But really analyzing these intimate scenes, and like I said, I've read a lot of this kind of stuff, and for the most part, every author falls short in this department, in my opinion. It's just kind of the name of the game because not everybody has the same buttons that they like, I guess. But for me specifically in these scenes, if I'm analyzing them, I think a lot of it was honestly good. It was the actual dialogue the two of them were saying that it was clunky Rooney. Like, it would have been better if they almost didn't say anything at all, you know, because...
And that's realistic too.
Right, because, yes, it was much more realistic, right? And I mean, I think dirty talk can be great in a lot of scenarios, but it is not sexy if you don't do it well. And it's realistic to not do it well.
Sure.
As you might know. I guess that was truly the dialogue within those scenes that I was like, if we could just, you know, revise this a little bit, I think this could really add a lot to the story, because the rest of it to me was honestly okay. Like, the lightning and it was a little goofy, and the busting up the dresser and the windows blowing out, whatever. But again, like, I can look past that because it's a fantasy book.
But then I want to know, does everybody pop their alt when they come?
Right, yeah.
So
because
is Nalone popping off his healing ultimate and wasting
God, that'd be nice. Be like getting a massage.
I mean, sure. Yeah. Like, I want to know, like, does everybody pop their alt when they bust a nut?
Yeah.
Or what? Like, it's just, you know.
Because so far, these are the only 2 that we've heard about doing that. And it might have something to do because as we learn moving forward, Violet's signet comes, she can't control it super well. And it's kind of triggered by, like, big emotions, like anger or lust or fear or, you know, that kind of thing. So maybe there are other people who kind of have those same things going on who do pop sex alts, but we haven't heard really anything. So anyway, they do the doo-doo that they do, and then somebody knocks on the door. And it's Garrick, I think? Somebody.
Yeah.
Waking them up because they're like, hey, bad shit's going down. Everyone's dead. You guys got to come outside. So Violet is still wearing her dress and Xaden's flight jacket. And everyone sees it and they know. Like, they didn't see the fucking lightning storm all around, but they know because she's wearing his jacket that this is the start of the second War Games, okay? Xaden is assigned to take his cadre of people to Athabine. I think that's how you say it. So sorry, Rebecca, if I'm not getting it right. I don't remember why specifically he decides to switch Violet into his squad.
I don't remember if it's because, like, they don't know how long they're going to be gone, so they want the dragons to be together, or what.
Can't remember why exactly, but Violet gets switched into his squad. And also, it is Commander Atos,
Yes.
I believe, Dane's father, who set up these war games, right? So they're going to Athabine, which is outside of Navaria's wards, which is kind of crazy to send a group of...
A bunch of kids?
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, it's kind of crazy to send, like, a bunch of untrained children to their deaths. And it's weird to me that not a single person batted an eyelash at that station, but here we are.
Well, I think a lot of the people on Xaden's team or squad or whatever probably kind of knew, like, oh, of course they're sending our squad to outside the wards.
Right. So, yeah, Xaden does some manipulating to his squad before they set off to make sure that more than 3 marked ones are in his cadre. So Xaden moves a bunch of people around so that Melgren can't tell what's happening. And then they're flying out to
Dane also freaks out.
Yeah, Dane is not cool with it, but...
Like, he literally is, like, saying, like, oh, I'll miss you. Like, he's being fucking weird.
Right. Because previously to this, Dane also did a sneakaroonie, and he read Violet's memories, and he saw that when she talked to Xaden earlier, that he mentioned going to Athenbine with some of the other marked ones to do something. Violet didn't know at the time, but Dane reported it to his dad, and now his dad knows something is going on. So basically, Dane's dad put together these war games to kill a bunch of kids.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Right. So along the way, they are flying to this outpost, and they meet up with some Griffin riders, and this goes badly because Violet finds out that Xaden has been working with, is it Poromiel?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
Poromiel. I love that word. That gets stuck in my head a lot. Poromiel.
Yeah, it's a good
really
name.
Gets stuck in, yeah. Poromish.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's been meeting with Poromish Griffin flyers to give them weapons, special alloy weapons from Bisgayath that can defeat Venin, which up until now, Violet thought were these like mythical folklore creatures of like evil, corrupted magic people who were, because they channel magic
directly from the earth.
Right. Not through a dragon as a conduit. They're evil and they're real, and only special weapons can kill them. And throughout the book, Violet has learned a couple of like weird things about like these attacks that are happening that in battle brief class that like don't fully make sense.
The altitude.
Right. Because like griffins can't attack certain outposts because they can't go high enough, but wyverns.
I don't know. I think it's pronounced wyvern, but most people would say wyvern.
Okay, but wyverns, they can go up to high altitude. So this is where we find out that the Venin are real. They can control wyverns. Xaden has been kind of doing this like whole double crossing thing, but really he's a good guy because he's doing it so that like people who live outside the wards have a chance to survive.
But Violet's not having it also.
Yeah, she's pretty
like,
pissed off.
oh, you lied to me. And this arc of their relationship is the worst.
Boot it, yeah.
It's just like, get over it. Just
Right.
because this is, and then they're not even dating, they're not engaged, like they barely fucking know each other. Of course, he hasn't told you shit yet. Like, what is wrong with you? This is just a symptom of being 20 fucking years old.
Right. Yeah. Violet is pissed. She feels betrayed, which I think is somewhat valid, but also he didn't really like betray her. He just was kind of
Selective.
Right. And he was kind of waiting to find the right time to tell her. And then Commander Atos sort of forced his hand with this whole stupid thing that he did, right? They meet with the Griffin Riders. She finds that out. They still continue on to the outpost where they find a letter from Atos that says, hey, joke's on you. We had everybody leave. Like, it's totally unmanned, and good luck. They wanted them to then fly to a different outpost if they made it. But the Venom took the chance to then attack the outpost because it was unmanned. So then a whole bunch of shit goes down.
And this, I think, is where the book kind of pulled me back in again. I was getting sick of, you know, the like stupid relationship between Xaden, who's cool, and Violet, who's cringe, even though Xaden's also cringe. This battle starting, and then everything, you know, just like there's never a moment of peace. Like everything's going fucking wrong. That's when it reels me back in. And that is the thing that I do like about Fourth Wing, is that it is really like nonstop.
Yeah, it's an action movie, really. Yeah, this last battle scene is super compelling. You know, we're meeting these like new creatures that we don't fully understand. We've only heard about them in the, like, these are like basically the boogeyman. Kind of crazy to realize that like the scary tooth fairy is real from your childhood.
Yeah.
And they're also super, super powerful. Dragon fire does nothing to them. So they're really at a huge disadvantage because, again, they're a group of untrained children. They're trying to save these civilians. They have a couple Griffin Riders that are helpful, but not even as powerful as the Dragon Riders, really. So they lose Liam during this.
That was so sad.
Dude, yeah. That really sucked, especially because, like, he almost died once and Violet saved him. So it was like, we got that moment where we're like, oh, shit, Liam is going to die. And then he didn't die. And then he dies, and he dies because his dragon is eviscerated by a wyvern.
Yes.
And if your dragon dies, you die. Like, sometimes a dragon can live through the death of a rider, but a rider cannot live through the death of a dragon. And Violet, like, just holds him while he dies. They have to watch Liam die, and there's, like, nothing they can do. The Venom are, like, sucking the life out of the earth. There was another dragon and rider who got, like,
Salil.
yeah.
They got sucked off.
Yeah, they got, I don't even know.
Juiced.
Yeah, they got wrung out, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Red
It was
mist.
crazy. So, yeah, this is just a crazy scene because, like, Violet and Xaden are, like, mad at each other during it, but they have to work together, and they're trying to, like, watch each other's back, and they're communicating through all their dragons and blah, blah, blah. And they try to stop time again because there's like a venom on Violet's dragon, and the venom stabs her with the poison dagger. She like almost dies, like pretty much dies.
Yeah, she almost dies, but
Oh, and she like does a bunch of fucking lightning because lightning can kill venom.
Yeah.
But she can't aim it.
right. So she's extremely powerful, but she can't actually use it. That
Yeah, and that's like taking a bazooka and just
Going like
crossing your
this?
fingers. Yeah, like that's crazy. It's crazy that nobody taught her how to do anything with her signet. Maybe it really hadn't manifested in time, I guess, for her
Yeah.
to work with it very much. But it seems incredibly irresponsible to take something like lightning and just let it off wherever.
So the big twist at the end of the book.
Right.
Did you see this coming
Kind of, I think.
with Brennan?
Right. Not until, I mean, like in that scene when she wakes up and she's not dead, it's like she was mended by somebody, and there's only one other mender that's ever mentioned. So, what about you? Did you see it coming?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was.
How do you
suspicious.
feel about it?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
I want to know more, though.
Right.
Like how and why. And
I hate a book that ends on a cliffhanger. That
Yeah.
pisses me off. I mean, luckily...
Thank God these have been rocketing out.
Right, yeah, it's a little crazy. Luckily, the book in and of itself was compelling enough for me to like want to keep reading it even without the cliffhanger ending. But I've read some books that were like so bad and then they ended on a cliffhanger and I was like, fuck, now I have to read the second one. And
Well, that Pterodox series, I'm telling you.
what do you think overall now that we've gone over the plot a little bit more?
I mean, I did fully, I think, like, beat the shit out of this book.
Yep.
But I mean, I do still like it. I just, my preferences lie more in dragons, not dragon fucking. Like, that was a joke. But, like, I like dragons. I like dragon lore. I love learning about magic systems and that sort of thing, where there was a lot of opportunity for, like, some really cool shit to be explained in this series that I think just wasn't. You know, I'm almost through the second book now, and there isn't a whole lot of explanation in that either. So that, I think, is the biggest letdown for me of this book, is that I think there's some really, really cool ideas that would have benefited from maybe another book in the series.
Yeah, I wonder if she'll write a prequel or like a Fire and Blood kind of thing.
And even the romance was too fast. Like, I want something drawn out. I want
your slow burn. Your slow burn.
I'm all about the slow burn. I would love for them to have never gotten together.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would have loved that.
Yeah.
Just be miserable.
Yeah, I mean, that is delicious sometimes. And I agree. And like, now it's like, okay, now they're fighting. So we're getting kind of that like third act breakup, which is not something I love because it's just annoying. People in real life are miserable enough. Like, I don't need to read about your relationship problems, you know? Yeah. But then again, plots have to go somewhere. So they can't just be like happy and having great sex all the time, unless maybe they could.
Yeah.
We won't ever know unless we try.
And we've got to start somewhere.
Yes, we have to start today. No day like today. I thought about asking you if you would read book number 2, and then you started reading it immediately.
I did, yeah. So, I think I went like a day between reading them, and I was like, fuck this. I have to read the second book.
I did it immediately too, because like I said, I had wisdom teeth surgery, so I didn't have anything else going on, so I just downloaded it. I got a new Kindle for Christmas, so
nice.
Been enjoying that. Do you think you want to do an episode on book number 2?
I would love to. Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Well, we'll try to crank that out while you're still here. We may or may not wear the get-ups next time. We'll see how I'm feeling and how you're feeling, I guess. Is there anything else you want to say?
Come check out the Grease if you love RuPaul's Drag Race, or if you just love me.
I love you.
And again, I think you might get a better insight to my personality. I just sip haterade, you know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what your viewers are like. So.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think Fourth Wing, especially from what I've seen, is a really compelling book in that way. Like, a lot of people love to hate on it, and a lot of people really, really love it.
Yeah, I love to hate on everything.
And I really do want to take a minute to give Fourth Wing the flowers it deserves, because it is one of those books that people who haven't read in a decade pick it up and they love it, and then they start like a new reading journey.
And that should absolutely be celebrated.
That
like anything to get you away from toxicity of like social media or a lot of the shit out there, like absolutely. So yeah, Rebecca popped off.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's amazing, and it's something that I support. I have fully gaslit myself into really enjoying this series and kind of understanding, I think, where it's coming from. So, you know, maybe in 10 years, Xaden will get the dirty talk down, and then I'll read the, you know, like by the 10th book.
The second wife book.
Yes. Ooh, yeah. What would that be? Fourth wife. I'll read that one.
Fourth wife, yes.
But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm also almost done with Iron Flame, and then Onyx Storm is coming out, I think, like next week.
Yes.
So perfect timing for all of that. And then I'm really crossing my fingers that we'll get a prequel or some sort of encyclopedia book, because there are so many delicious little,
if not, let's just make some fan fiction.
Let's
just write it if it doesn't come out.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not really a fan fiction person,
not
but
at all.
I'm sure there's great stuff out there. There are a lot of really good fan fiction writers.
No,
so.
I want to write fan fiction lore. I don't want to write fan fiction.
Well, then that's valid. Fan fiction lore is valid, and you should do that.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess if anyone who listens to this knows of any good Fourth Wing fanfic, fucking drop those recommendations. Like, let's get into it. I'm a huge fan of The Grease, so I think you should also check that out. So thank you guys so much for listening, and maybe you'll see us soon for the Iron Flame episode.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.